While some people have strong views about Ubisoft, most people don't care about them. For the most part, it stays hidden underwater, like a big sea monster with many arms that runs a bunch of old brands. You can't say that Ubisoft is a good company, though. These problems seem to go to the heart of how the business is set up and run. To be honest, fixing things might require the Guillemot family to relinquish power and get new people in charge of most of the departments. Since I don't think that will happen, I'm going to share all the things that are wrong with the company, and many people will agree with me. This was in 2020, at the height of the pandemic. A French newspaper called Liberation claimed that top executives were harassing the employees and acting poorly. The CEO, the head of Ubisoft Montreal, 2 vice presidents, and the global head of HR were among them. Ubisoft did the smart thing by acting quickly. They cut ties with the person who was charged, hired a new head of diversity and inclusion and a chief workplace officer, and even set up an outside board to review employee complaints. These steps look strong at first glance, but workers were not happy with the steps. Many workers claimed that problems are still very deep. Some of the people who were accused were given promotions instead of being shut down. People who complained were told to keep quiet, and the company is getting a lot of bad press for being open and honest. Even worse, charges of racism have come up. Employees say they were offended by offensive comments, but HR did nothing about it because the people in question were in authoritative positions. It was like complaints get lost in the third-party review board. Some workers have been waiting for more than a year for any updates on their complaints and have often heard nothing at all. CEO Yves Guillemot said he values free speech and prioritizes these problems. Even so, workers were told not to talk to reporters, and they offered some arrangements to keep things secret that sounded more like threats. Some brave workers spoke out without giving their names and said that management had not done anything to listen to them. Many brilliant people have left Ubisoft because of this ongoing mess. Reports say that the company has a high yearly turnover rate of about 12%. To give you an idea, 5 of the top 25 named people from Far Cry 6 and 12 of the top 50 from Assassin's Creed Valhalla have already quit. As a result, projects are being held up, canceled, or delayed. To make things better, the company hired 2,600 interns and young employees who helped them keep the same number of employees. They also said that top employees would get 20% raises and junior employees would get 5% raises. However, this idea caused new problems because pay gaps are getting bigger between workers. It seems like Ubisoft is always in the news, mostly for canceling games. A lot of people joke that they won't believe a Ubisoft game is real until it's been out for a few months. There were a lot of games that were canceled, like Splinter Cell VR, Ghost Recon Frontline, Pioneer, Hyperscape, King Arthur, and more. There is also a chance that fans will hear that games like Beyond Good and Evil 2, The Division Heartland, Roller Champions, Oddballers, and Project Q will not be produced anymore. Also, don't forget about the wait times. Some games, like Assassin's Creed Rift and Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, have been pushed back. This makes Ubisoft's list look more like a whiteboard, with some blank spaces filled in. Recently, Ubisoft took down the online parts of more than 100 games. Sounds like betrayal, right? Well, that means you can't play with other people, log in, or get awards. In some cases, you can't even get DLC or play the single-player mode. Oh, please, Ubisoft, be a little kind. Moreover, it's possible that you won't be able to set up or play some of Ubisoft's games if they have DLC. It's hard to be a Ubisoft fan right now. Taking away DLC, part of Ubisoft's efforts to save money is to turn off the online features for some older games. You can no longer get to or play DLC for games like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Driver San Francisco, Far Cry 3, Silent Hunter 5, and Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands. These are the main games that you can still play and re-download from Ubisoft. But what about the DLC you bought? Well, it's gone. This action affects more than 50 games altogether. The Because of this, you can't use any of the extra stuff that you paid for. Ubisoft says they are doing this to pay more attention to making new game players' experiences better. If so, then why aren't there many new games? Ubisoft has been interested in NFTs, blockchain, and crypto for a while now. This stuff has been tried out since 2019 by their Strategic Innovation Lab, a group that studies new tech and how to use it in games. They said in December 2021 that NFTs would be added to the PC version of Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Fans were, shall we say, unhappy. Avoiding all the blockchain is great argument, Ubisoft's handling of NFTs had some clear flaws. Decentralization. The fact that no one group is in charge is meant to be the best thing about blockchain. But Ubisoft's NFTs were very centralized. It seemed like they either didn't know much about blockchain or thought people wouldn't understand it. What Ubisoft did was add cosmetic items like hats, trousers, and guns, but only a certain number were made. Each one had a unique serial number that was stored on the blockchain. The idea was not completely new. There is already a big market for special skins in games like CSGO. Some sell for really crazy amounts of money. It was clear that Ubisoft wanted to be a part of that. However, CSGO doesn't need blockchain to work, but Ubisoft decided to use it anyway. They said it was about giving people control, but Ubisoft had all the power. To access anything on Ubisoft, your age had to be 18 and your country had to be on the list. You had to use a two-factor login and connect to your Ubisoft Connect account. What if Ubisoft banned you? Also, your NFTs were not allowed. You could only sell them on Ubisoft-approved platforms, and the company took a cut of the sales. There was no decentralization at all in this setup. Ubisoft showed its authority here. After doing all this, their NFTs didn't have the perks that people expect. Ubisoft owned all the rights, so you couldn't do things like make or sell goods with the stuff you owned. Ubisoft quietly quit the project after only 4 months, and the NFT store stopped working. It had been over months since anyone had bought anything. Ubisoft's main answer when asked about it was, gamers just don't get it. They think that NFTs are either bad for the world or just a bunch of guesswork. But we can see the end game, which is letting people sell their stuff again when they are done. They did not listen to critics. Instead, they stepped up their game. They gave their workers free NFTs in the shape of a hat as a reward. It's like your boss asking you to give them information about your cryptocurrency wallet just for that. It looks like a lot of bad choices have been made in this story. It was clear that Ubisoft wanted to join the NFT trend, but the way they did it was so badly thought out that it made everyone scratch their heads. Even their game launcher, which has been called Uplay, Ubisoft Club, and now Ubisoft Connect, seems to be a sign of how they keep trying to change things and make them better without fixing the real issues. This launcher has had a few different names, all of which are attempts by Ubisoft to separate itself from the bad name it had before. Let's make it easy to understand. Like Steam or Epic Games Launcher, Ubisoft Connect is a launcher. People still call it Uplay out of habit. The cool thing is that when you open a Ubisoft game on Steam or Epic, Ubisoft Connect also opens. This setup is not just for fun. It's how Ubisoft keeps track of sales and makes more money. Epic gets 12% and Steam gets 30% of the sales. But if Ubisoft gets you to buy through their launcher, they keep that extra amount. This means that they make more money from your purchase. This is why other businesses have their launchers, like Battle.net from Blizzard or Origin from EA. Not much has changed about Ubisoft Connect over the years. There are still bugs in it. It can be hard to find your way around the store. It often crashes, and after changes, you get annoying security messages all the time. The worst part is that it breaks games sometimes. Many players couldn't even play Far Cry 6 when it came out because Ubisoft Connect wouldn't authorize their game or wouldn't know they bought it. The interface caused so much lag that people had to turn it off so the game could run smoothly. If you are enjoying watching the video so far, you can appreciate our research and efforts that went into bringing this video out for you. by pressing on the like button below. It will be enough for us to get motivated and keep going with the good work. Getting back to Ubisoft. Ubisoft isn't giving up, even with these problems. Features like silent key action are getting even better. As of now, when you buy a game, you don't get a product key. Instead, the game is linked to your Ubisoft account straight away. This means that Ubisoft has full control over prices and sales. No more getting cheap keys from other people or selling keys that haven't been used. It also stops fraud, like when stores lie about making a sale during a discount time. The bad thing is that you can't play games if Ubisoft Connect doesn't work. If you don't have the keys, you can't show that you own the game. Ubisoft wants this set up because it keeps all the power for them and makes it almost impossible to sell actual PC games. Ubisoft has a past of shutting down games and taking away DLC, so players are at their mercy. If they decide to stop the service for a game, you will lose all of your information, following the subscription system, like Netflix, YouTube, Hulu, and platforms provide. Ubisoft also joined the party and made its own service called Ubisoft Plus. For a monthly fee, you can play a bunch of Ubisoft games. They did a poll and found that 41% of players between the ages of 15 and 45 already had accounts for services like Xbox Live and PlayStation Network. Another 24% used services like EA Play or Game Pass, and 17% paid for more than one. This meant that Ubisoft could give a subscription service to make more money and have more control over their games. The idea is simple. You can play a lot of games instead of just one for $10 a month. Ubisoft also knows that their games are worth money in the long run. For instance, when new Assassin's Creed games come out, old ones don't lose their value. In live service games, older versions are no longer useful, but not here. This model is often appealing to people who like to rent games or play them once. It's like movie rentals in the old days. You rent, play, and then leave. But there are some bad things about it. First, Ubisoft Plus only has games made by Ubisoft. That's great if you like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, or Tom Clancy games, but it doesn't have as many games from different makers as Xbox Game Pass or PlayStation Plus. It's like signing up for a niche streaming service. It's great for people who like a certain type of music, but it might not be for everyone. Second, Ubisoft makes it very easy to subscribe. The subscription comes with all the premium material, like DLC, upgrades, and special versions. This makes it look like a better deal than buying games separately, especially since rare versions can cost a lot. It's clear what they want, you to join instead of buying games one at a time. The price is the last thing. Ubisoft Plus is one of the more expensive game packages at $15 to $18 a month. It's cheaper to use services like EA Play, Stadia, or Luna instead. You can get Netflix or Spotify for less. If you only want to subscribe to a few games a month, Ubisoft Plus might not seem like a good deal unless you love their games. Hence, gaming subscriptions like Ubisoft Plus are part of a growing trend in the business. For a monthly fee, they offer ease and access to games, but it depends on what kind of gamer you are and how useful you think the service is. No question live service games bring in a lot of cash. In fact, EA admitted in May 2022 that live service games like Apex Legends and FIFA Ultimate Team brought in a huge 71% of their income. Even better, Sony bought Bungie and said they were making 12 live service games of their own because these games make cash. Since 2013, Ubisoft has been all in on this plan. They chose not to make a game at all if it couldn't become a brand. They said they would no longer charge for DLC and would only sell skins, charms, and other stuff that looks good. That didn't happen, so be warned. But it gave us a look into how they thought. The point is clear, games are no longer just games, they are services. Think of it as a membership. You don't own the game. Instead, you pay to have access to an experience that is always being improved. You can't finish it, you need it all the time. You are always interested because they keep adding new things. Take the game Assassin's Creed Infinity as an example. It's the last Assassin's Creed game, not just the next one. Ubisoft doesn't plan to make any new games, but they will keep it updated forever. Not a single game, but a platform is what they want to make. Think of a hub world like Destiny or other MMOs, where new events are added all the time and are connected. Of course, money will be made from this, and you can keep the money coming in with fight passes, microtransactions, and other things. Ubisoft wants that kind of steady flow of money that Fortnite has. They hope that one day, both Infinity and the money will never run out. Now it's time to talk about the games. Let's say you begin a new game. Right away, there is a busy, exciting scene. You meet all the important people, get a tour of your home base, and feel excited about a new journey. After that, the map shows up. It's cool at first because there is a lot to see. The icons come next. There are enemy camps, places to loot, puzzles, fetch quests, and secret areas. Also, guess what? More icons show up once you get into those hidden places. Bases, loot, puzzles, and fetch quests keep coming. Soon enough, you begin to feel tired. You feel like you have seen everything before. As soon as you reach the top of a tower, fire your bird, ping something, and the map will light up with even more jobs. Repeat, climb, and icon over and over. It's not just open world games in general, it's the way Ubisoft games feel. I call it Ubisoft fatigue. Far Cry 3 may have been a big deal back then, but now it seems like every Ubisoft game is the same. Video games like Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, Ghost Recon, and Far Cry all mixed together. Amazingly, people don't mix up DLC from one game with DLC from another. The worlds may look nice, but they are full of boring, repetitive tasks that make the experience more like checking things off a list than having fun on a journey. It seemed like the game was living at first because it had a big open world and was not just about you. But now, it seems like a lot of work. People who have already spent a lot of time on the game rush through the last tasks just to finish. That's when Ubisoft told everyone about their new tech, Scalar. Developers should be able to use cloud computing to make worlds hundreds or thousands of times bigger. I wasn't excited when their managing director said, "We can now build even bigger worlds for players to play in." I was tired. If it's just more of the same, bigger doesn't mean better. It seems like this business is ignoring all of its problems. There have been problems with DLC, NFTs, open world games, workplace scandals, and even strange things like building a Ubisoft theme park in Kuala Lumpur. To be sure, they even asked fans to make songs for Watch Dogs Legion for a chance to win $2,000. Still, nothing changes. Things like this have been going on for a long time. It looks like Ubisoft doesn't want to fix anything. They just keep doing the same thing. The market is paying attention because Ubisoft's sales dropped to a huge extent. The games, apps, and problems with downloadable content are all things that gamers are sick of with Ubisoft. People are mad at Ubisoft for making things worse. What is your take on Ubisoft? Do share your views in the comment section below. If you want us to make a video on any particular business, do mention it in the comment section, and then we will take it from there. Also, you can check out the already existing business stories already covered on our channel. In the end, if you enjoyed watching the video, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. See you soon in another video.